Afternoon of the 5th day. Lie.
Part 0. Don't you have anything better to do? Part 1. Hikari had been completely relieved of her duties by Iria.
Instead, go help Kunigisa and the other guy,
She had been told. It was a soft way of saying, no way in hell am I going to entrust any of the housework to the prime suspect. Or at least that was partially what she meant. And thus, the three of us remained together, even after finishing lunch. Would you two go ahead of me? I said to them, on the way to Kunigisa's room. I want to check in with Iria. Kunigisa, hold on to this. I pulled a small knife out of my pocket and handed it to her.
You've been walking around with something so dangerous?
Hikari said in surprise. A young man always carries a knife in his heart.
And a young woman carries a pistol,
Kunigisa joked as she took the knife.
Well, let's go, Hikari. But it's okay. Let's leave it to Ichan,
Kunigisa said, half dragging Hikari along. As long as they were together, Kunigisa wouldn't have any trouble going upstairs. That was one of the reasons we were on a team of 3. Well, I guess we're going then. I did an about face and began walking towards Iria's room. Time to request another audience. I gave myself some mental prep. Then I took a deep breath. I knocked on the thick door, waiting for an answer.
Come in.
I entered. Inside the room, I found Iria and Ray, as well as Hikari and Tereko, which I guess I probably should have expected since they were on a team. All of them were sitting on the sofas, elegantly sipping black tea. Hikari awkwardly avoided eye contact, as if trying to escape from me. She must have been regretting going bananas on me that morning in Kunigisa's room. That was only natural, but it was I who was at a loss about her being so openly unwelcoming. Iria's mouth slowly curled into a smile.
Is something the matter? What was it? You're the one who proposed that we operate in teams and now you're here alone? That's a bit of a problem now, isn't it? Hikari's on your team.
Iria, I interrupted. You still don't plan on contacting the police, do you?
Not a chance.
A snappy answer. An utterly cold, curt response. She was just amazing. You're really wonderful, Iria Akagami. I don't think that's a good thing, to be honest, I said.
Would you also care for some black tea?
This was Ray. She stood up without waiting for my reply and walked over to the pot. Iria shot her a look that seemed to have some hidden meaning, but then looked back towards me.
Please enjoy. If the police came now, you'd be in a sticky situation yourself, don't you think? Akane was killed because of your suggestion, after all.
It doesn't matter if it would put me in a sticky situation anymore. I live to be given the runaround. More important, what about you, Iria? Iria Akagami? You might be killed too. What do you think of that situation?
Please, have a seat.
With Ray's invitation, I took a seat on the empty part of the couch next to Tereko. Tereko made no attempt to even look at me. Her vacant eyes stared off into space from behind her black glasses. It was like her focus was out of alignment or something. Or no, it wasn't out of alignment. She just wasn't focusing on me. The black tea was good. Iria took a vexingly long pause before answering me.
What do I think of it? Of this situation? This is major. It's a major event. Of course that's not all I think. But what if I ask you the same question? What do you think?
It's a dangerous situation. I have no interest in sticking around with a murderer in our midst. And I had no interest in sticking Kunagisa in such a situation either. I didn't know how she felt about things, though. I had no idea. But as for me...
Do you think murder is a terrible thing?
Yes, I do. I answered promptly. I do think that, without question. No matter what reasons they might have, murderers are the most despicable type of human.
So what would you do if you were going to be killed? I mean, if it was kill or be killed, what would you do? Just sit there and wait to die?
I'd probably kill. I'm not a saint, but in that moment, I would consider myself the most despicable type of human. No matter what kind of person he or she was.
You sound like you're speaking from experience.
Iria gave me an unsavory smile. It was a wicked smile, perfectly befitting a woman of such absolute power, with such an overwhelming upper hand. I thought she reminded me of someone. Ah, yes. Kaname. It was that same, you didn't know, kind of smile. But why would a non-genius like Iria have a similar smile to Kaname Ibuki?
You think murder must be punished. But imagine you set some food in front of a mouse and every time the mouse tries to eat it, it gets an electric shock. What do you think the mouse does?
Mice are capable of learning, so it would probably stop trying to eat.
Wrong. Mice are capable of learning, so it would eat the parts of the food that aren't electrified.
Humans aren't mice.
And mice aren't humans.
Iria clapped both her hands together.
Say, as long as we're discussing this, maybe you'll answer this for me. Why is it wrong to kill people?
It was the kind of simple question that a junior high student might ask. She didn't seem to be joking. Because it's against the law. Because society functions better if you believe that. Because I don't want to be killed myself.
All of the above lack persuasive power.
I agree. So this is my answer. There is no reason. You need a reason to kill someone. Like maybe you were pissed off. Or you just wanted to kill the person or whatever. But nobody kills without some reason. But it's not something you choose, right? To kill or not to kill. That's not something you choose. That's just drivel that people with a Hamlet complex spout. The instant you embrace such doubts, you're no longer human. Am I who suffer noble? What a joke. Killing is wrong, I said. That's an absolute. You don't need a reason.
Is that right?
Iria nodded with blatant insincerity.
I suppose I can understand where you're coming from. But if we knew who the killer was, this case would be closed. Once Aikawa gets here, we'll find out who that is.
I don't know this Aikawa.
But I do. Isn't that enough? Akari, tell him when our dear detective is coming. In 3 days.
Akari answered, still without making eye contact with me.
We requested Aikawa to come earlier than planned, so... There you have it. If we knew who the killer was, of course you could just leave. You're here on this island because you're a suspect. That's the only reason a talentless, mediocre boy such as yourself is here. Speaking of which, you didn't have an alibi when Ibuki was killed, or when Sonoyama was killed, did you?
I placed my still more than half-full cup of tea back in its saucer, and slowly rose to my feet. Please excuse me then. I think we're speaking completely different languages here.
Indeed.
She sneered.
There's your exit. Tereko, see him back to his room.
Ray said to the maid sitting next to me.
So that he's not all alone. You shouldn't have a problem with that, right?
With a quick nod, Tereko got up from the sofa. I didn't fully understand what Ray had meant by that, nor how to react to it, but nevertheless, Tereko advanced out of the room on her own. I scrambled after her, leaving Iria's room behind as well. By the time I got to the hallway, Tereko was already quite a ways ahead of me. What kind of an escort sped out of the room ahead of their guest? As usual, I couldn't read her at all, and it wasn't just a matter of her doing things at her own pace. I accelerated to catch up with her. In any case, my conversation with Iria really hadn't gone anywhere at all. I had more or less expected that, but still, I was surprised at how quickly it had died. It seemed Iria really trusted this Aikawa. But did such an amazing detective really exist in this world? I hope so. I sincerely hope so. No, I was wishing for it. Praying. Maybe that's just nonsense, too. I let out another sigh. I would just have to try again. It didn't seem likely that I would be able to progress very far without the cooperation of the owner of this mansion. It was nothing to brag about, but I could be surprisingly determined, and I was a sore loser. The worst of the worst sore losers. There was no way I would give up that easily.
It would be better for you to just die.
Huh? Did someone say something just now? I could have sworn I had heard someone's voice. I looked around the hall, but nobody was around besides Tereko and me. It must have been my imagination. My ears were playing tricks on me. Maybe I was losing it. No. The voice had come from ahead, which meant there was just one other, highly unlikely possibility. I knew that it was nearly impossible, logically speaking. But could it have been? Was it possible? Tereko, did you say something? Indeed. She stopped upon hearing my question.
I said it would be better for you to just die.
I was speechless. It was the first time she had ever spoken in my presence, and I never would have guessed it would be a line such as, "It would be better for you to just die." That was just too much. Was she for real? And then she turned to me and stared from behind those dark glasses, perfectly still. It was an accusing gaze, and I couldn't help but wince. We stood like that for a while, her staring me down, but realizing I didn't have the perseverance to beat her, I decided to just ignore her and keep on walking. As I tried to pass, she grabbed me by my arm and tightly clenched it. Good. It felt like an electric shock had run through my elbow. Without releasing my arm, she pulled me into a nearby room and shut the door behind me. She forced me onto the sofa. From there, she sat down so that we were face to face and removed her glasses. Those are just for show?
They're so we can be told apart.
She raised her face. Her voice was exactly the same as Akari and Hikari's. That clear, beautiful voice. Is that right?
No, I'm lying. I just don't want to look at your face. No, I'm lying. I just wanted to see you make that face.
Huh. Can I help you with something? Unable to figure out her intentions, I knew that it would be bad to get swallowed up in this bizarre situation, so I tried my best to seize the initiative by asking a question. But she just sat there looking around the room, without giving any response.
I'll give you a word of advice,
she suddenly said, continuing to ignore my question. It was as if she were talking to some guardian angel behind me.
You'd be best to live on your own. When you're around other people, you cause trouble for them.
The worst part was, without her glasses, she was completely indistinguishable from Akari and Hikari. Being told this kind of stuff by not only Maki, but now her too, was, to be honest, unpleasant. I felt like I'd been betrayed.
A person who does nothing but bother other people should just stop being a person altogether. If you can't do that, then you've got to go on living alone. That's what I think.
Why are you saying this?
Because I'm the same way.
A clear answer. Her expression showed no change. Not even a flicker. But, I objected, you're here with other people, and...
That's why we have stopped being people.
We. Exactly who did that include?
This morning, Akari was rude to you. I apologize.
She changed the subject without any segue. Her pale expression and her tone of voice remained unchanged. Why are you apologizing?
That was me.
Huh? She continued, oblivious to my confusion.
It wasn't really me, but it was my body. The three of us share these 3 bodies. All 3 of us have 3 personalities each, and the personalities and memories coincide across us. So although the one screaming at you this morning was Akari, the body was mine.
You're lying.
I am,
she replied, with a completely straight face. What was up with this girl? She really was a disappearing magic pitch, where I was supposed to make contact?
Now then, enough with the chit-chat.
And she thought this was just chit-chat.
Let me get to the point. I don't think it's very wise to be yakking on and on about the police around my mistress. She can be quite patient, but everyone has a breaking point.
Why is Iria being so stubborn about it anyway? She says it's to keep the peace here, but I can't help but think there's more to it than that. And hadn't the peace already been broken? She didn't seem to be interested in peace in the slightest.
You really want to know?
I do. Tereko stood up. She came over beside me. She leaned up against me. She stuck to me. Her body was all the way up on me.
It's because no criminal likes the police,
she said, her voice completely devoid of tone or cadence.
That's why.
I was at a loss for words for a moment, not quite clear what she had meant.
Surely you've wondered why my mistress is on this island. Why do you think she's here?
Well, with that personality of hers.
She messed up.
Tereko didn't seem to be one for context, so I had no idea where the conversation was headed. How could triplets raised in the same environment have such completely different personalities? It really was like having multiple personality disorder. Huh. What do you mean by messed up?
Kunagisa can't handle extreme vertical motion. That's why you're here, correct?
Yes, that's right. I guess she didn't care much about keeping pace either. Is something wrong with that?
My mistress is the opposite,
she said, bluntly, but smoothly. It was almost like she was reading it right out of a script. A fairly dry reading at that.
She's on this island so that no one is at her side.
Tereko immediately continued.
Have you ever seen my mistress's left arm? If you saw the scars all over her wrist, you would understand too.
The scars? On her wrist? As dry and monotone as her voice was, it was deadly serious as well.
It's called the maiming syndrome. You would know of it, yes?
Maiming syndrome. She must have been DLLR syndrome. Indeed, I had heard of it. A form of automatism. Or should I say, a high-end automatism, where the person cannot but harm oneself as well as others. At any rate, it was an exceptionally bad, impossibly unsavory, extraordinarily atrocious type of mental disorder. In my time at the program, I had read some literature about it, but I had never actually witnessed a case of it in real life, though I knew someone who had. As he had put it, a person capable of killing without bearing any sense of guilt is truly a scary thing. Truly scary indeed. Was she saying that was Iria? But DLLR syndrome was such a rare condition that its very existence was a subject of great suspicion. It was a fairly compulsive condition, so it had an extremely low chance of manifesting. There hadn't been a single case of it in Japan, and even in the States, there had only been a small, countable sample. Wait, was this just the law of great numbers at work again? Tereko, that's...
Just as we are triplets, my mistress also has a twin, Mistress Odette.
Iliad and Odyssey? Uh-huh. Is that right? So what's her sister doing now?
She's dead.
You mean it?
I mean it. And the one who killed Mistress Odette was none other than Mistress Iria. Do you understand? Do you understand what that means? Have you grasped the logic here? It means that you've just insulted my mistress with your filthy mouth. No matter what reasons they might have, murderers are despicable.
I didn't really mean to.
Your intentions are irrelevant in this case. At any rate, I presume you understand why she won't call the police now? If you understand, please go back to your room, and please stop making waves.
Without another moment's hesitation, she got up from the couch. I could tell from her disposition that this conversation was over. But Tereko, stop making waves? That was my line. Tereko, I blurted out, spontaneously after her. Contrary to my every expectation, she stopped in her tracks by the door.
What?
For instance. Say there was a kid who spent the first 10 years of his life locked in the basement, without communicating with a single person, including his parents. Can you imagine what that kid would grow up to be like? She didn't answer. Naturally, I wasn't hoping for an actual answer. I just thought I'd try asking. This person living quietly, plainly, bluntly. To me, she was probably...
You and I are totally different,
she said, in a somewhat harsh tone. It was like she could read my mind. She spoke without even looking back.
Don't you dare make me out to be one of your kind. It's disgusting, and it makes me nauseous, and it's an incredible nuisance.
Sorry to hear that.
You're the only one of your kind in the world. Not just this world, but any world. If you'd like me to put it simply, you are way out there.
That's actually more than I wanted to hear, especially from you.
It had to be me, because nobody else will say it.
Tereko didn't look back. She continued all the same.
It seems you still think you don't understand why Himina picks on you so much, but the reason is obvious. It's because she can see what's in your heart. Nobody likes filthy things. I'm saying you're filthy.
No need to repeat that. I'm fully aware of it. What's in my gut.
Oh, are you? And yet you manage to go on living? Well, that's the spirit. That must take a lot of willpower. That's worthy of respect. Or could it be that you think there's someone out there who will like you even after you've spilled your guts? Do you worship that which might choose you even then? Then you really are way out there.
There was nothing to say. Her words echoed. They were too heavy for me. I was going to break, brittly fall to pieces.
How dare you barge into other people's lives when you're harboring such a monster inside yourself? You think that's cute? You're shameless. The world isn't so forgiving. How grossly conceited you are, and that's why.
She opened the door. Then for a moment, she looked back at me. It was an ice-cold gaze targeted at an object of her truest, heartfelt loathing.
You should just die.
An inorganic sound. The door shut. The power drained from my body. It was like my shackles had been removed, but without the sense of liberation. Jeez. What a clown. I felt as if I'd been flattened, completely pulverized. Nonsense of nonsenses. Seriously. Left all alone, I sat and thought. What was that? I tried to recall everything she had said. Unlike my interview with Akane the previous night, there was no theorizing this time. There was no reasoning, no explaining, just the naked truth thrust in my face. Hence. Oh man, that did me some damage for real. I shook my head. Don't think about it. There are other things to be thinking about now. I got up from the sofa and left the room. Looking around the hallway, not even Tereko's shadow remained. She was pretty light on her feet. Wasn't that another way in which she resembled me? Anyway, all that mattered now was the information Tereko had left me with. The scars on Iria's wrist. Her background. The fact that she had killed her sister and had been exiled to this island. Maiming syndrome. Automatism. Considering all that, it was clear why she wouldn't call the... Wait a minute. Hold it, me. A revelation. I had seen Iria changing clothes right before my eyes yesterday. The first time she had granted me an audience, but there hadn't been any scars on her wrists. Not that I was staring at just her limbs the whole time, but surely I would have noticed any imposing scars. Wait. I stopped in my tracks, scratching my head. Seriously, what the hell was that? Essentially, Tereko was a big fat liar, just like me.